Okay, so I kind of just wanted to get up on here and talk a little bit about this kind of tech philosopher to socialite pipeline because I feel like people who've been following me for a while have questions about how I got from doing tech philosophy to now being a pole dancer and helping people become more social. And I feel like the pipeline is so obvious to me, but maybe that's because of where I'm sitting. And so that's kind of why I wanted to come on here and just explain it. So let's start from the beginning. I started an internet company, in my early 20s. And the experience of being on Instagram in 2013, 14, 15 was very impactful because I had a first row seat in how social media was changing the world. And I saw it okay, you have to remember there used to be a time where we would comment about how much we were on our phones. Like it was like a joke, like, oh, everyone's on their phones these days. Everyone's glued to their phones. Everyone's looking at their phones because the etiquette was still rising in our culture and it was noticeable. It was like that was how you kind of determine when someone was a millennial or whatever, was tech savvy, is like they're on their phone all the time. So it started with that. And then I noticed events were changing and warping around social media KPIs and performance metrics. So what I mean is like where before an event would just be an event, like now there started to be hashtags for events. And, there was this expectation that the event should do something for your social media. There should be a place to take a picture for your social media. There should be a hashtag to use for your social media. And then on top of that, I'm a young woman, very young, and I have a huge following at the time through my company. And I'm seeing how people behave and treat me based on the fact that I had such a huge following. I'm noticing all these privileges that come with having a big following. This is 2015, 16. And being the natural philosopher I am, I'm just questioning all of it. And I'm like, wow, this is really interesting that all these changes are happening and they're happening so fast. And I could pick up on the fact that they were happening so fast and a lot of people were not um, paying attention to the speed because they were so immersed in the pace of everything that they were quiet to the speed of everything. And during this time, I was also doing a lot of research on economics, innovation. I was researching a lot about how products and services are adopted into mainstream society and how that changes society, how it changes behaviors and economies. So for example, I learned about the adoption of the light bulb. I learned about the adoption of television. I learned about the adoption of airplanes, right? I was reading a lot of, I believe his name is Steve Johnson's work, um, The Innovator's Dilemma. I forget his name. Please excuse me. I'll put in the description. Phenomenal thinkers, phenomenal writers. I'm reading Nicholas Carr, all these books about how these modern inventions changed the world. They didn't just change the world, they changed day-to-day life because a world with a light bulb and a world without a light bulb are two different worlds. They're two different economies, they're two different political climates. And so here I am, this internet girl with this little business and I'm like, yo, the internet is such a massive invention. Like, I don't think we have even scratch the surface of the magnitude in which this invention has changed the world and will continue to do so. We're still, if you look at history from far back, we're still on a tippy entry point of the internet. It just got mainstream adopted, let's say in 2004 is when most homes had a computer, like a big bulky computer with the internet. And then the mass adoption of the mobile internet in 2009-ish, when iPhone decided to get a little bit cheaper and stop just being on AT&T and got on other networks. And Facebook was the app on there. Okay? Look at how quick that was. So we have the early adopters getting computers in the 90s, which was my dad, which is why I had a computer in my house before I was born. My dad was tinkering with computers, programming computers in high school in the 80s. And my grandfather was also programming and tinkering with hardware, more radio, but there's a legacy of early adoption and technology in my family. And so we have these quantum leaps of technological adoption, and I don't know what to do about it because I just want to point it out and tell the world, and I did my best. And if you were there, you saw that I did my best. Now, a lot of my critique about the early adoption was not a critique at all, but more just, can we notice it's happening? Let's just acknowledge it's happening. But then secondly, there was a critique of, hey, what about meaning? What about connection? What about what's happening to us as human beings? Are we designing apps and software and telecommunications in a way that's sensitive and human friendly? Or are we only thinking about economizing everything, economizing relationships, economizing economies? I mean, I guess economizing economies isn't that bad, but the point I'm making is that I noticed how we were all slowly becoming numbers to each other. We're all slowly becoming follower counts to each other and likes to each other and ratings to each other and swipes to each other and Amazon buttons to each other. And because I'm a sweet, sensitive soul, probably like you are, it hurt. I felt something was wrong with this. I felt like this ignored the poetic, romantic, human, sensitive sides to us. And I put out a lot of work, which is right here on this YouTube, about ways that we could add more meaning into technology, ways that meaning was leaving, ways that we were suffering from intergenerational technological tech literacy gaps, right? So that's just a fancy way of saying your grandma has a hard time navigating today's technological landscape, aka her phone, which makes it hard for her to stay in contact with you, which affects her quality of life and her feeling of closeness to others. And one day we will all be grandmas, and the way that the world is going, we will also suffer from this posture of abandoning, neglecting, devaluing people if they can't keep up with the times. I had a big beef with that. And I got some recognition. I got in some doors, and it was great. But at the end of the day, if you ever try to fight the internet, I'm going to let you know who's going to win. And it ain't going to be you. It's going to be the internet. So I fell back. And now I had some time to just, people would be like, so Alex, you say all this stuff about how the world's basically a dystopia and like life has no meaning. And so what do we do? And I would always tell people, enjoy your life. That's all there is to do. Y'all, enjoy it. Enjoy every day of your life. Yes, we can look at the world as this sad, dystopian, you know, that the tech is killing us and separating us, and we can write all the dissertations. We can philosophize as much as we want. We can set up the PowerPoints. But we can also dance. Okay? And that's what I ended up doing. I just wanted to explore my soul, my spirit. I wanted to honor my inner divine self because that's what I think we're here to do. And we do that by finding things that bring us pure joy and purpose. And I'm so happy I did that because dance was a portal into my humanity and helped me kind of warm up, defrost my heart and my posture to everything else, because now I'm so connected to myself and my body that it's easier for me to connect with other people on a heart-to-heart level. It's helped my empathy. It's helped my ability to have a social life. And I feel very strongly nothing has changed. And I think that's why I wanted to say all this, because I was crowned as a tech philosopher, not just because I was calling myself that. I had TEDx call me that. I had Black Enterprise call me that. Okay, the real thought leaders in the space were co-signing on the stuff that I was putting out. And like I said, I guess all I'm trying to say is that everything is I still feel the same way, which is the best way to live this all out is to fight the system, I guess, by actually creating connection. You connect to others, and it doesn't have, like, I'm very big on it. It doesn't have to be very deep connections with everyone. I'm not saying you need deep connections. Even a mild, brief, casual connection with someone can change their life. We're here to feel connected to each other. So the reason why I have no reservations in helping people, become socialites, connect with others, throw parties, try hobbies, use content to connect, is because my mission has stayed the same the entire time. We need to connect with each other. We need to create lifestyles. We need to create systems. We need to create approaches that honor our humanity. And one of the things I always love that Alan Watts said is, if you pay attention to what humans do when they have enough money, when they can choose to do anything at all, they usually choose to party. That is how we spend our most precious time, our most idle time. The way that we choose to we party. That's the point. We dance, we drink, we celebrate, and we party together. And a party is really just people dancing and laughing and probably drinking. That is how people like to spend time, and that's been happening for centuries, because dance in particular is a very harmonic kind of activity where you can become one as a corporate body, right? Like, you know how in the military everybody like walks the same and talks the same, and they talk about these euphoric experiences of all feeling like one body, even though it's like 300 bodies. Same thing with dance, that when we all put on some music and we dance, we feel so connected to each other. And that's what life is about. So I say all this to say that this is the pipeline. This is the pipeline from the tech philosophy to this socialite era that I'm in now. This is why I want to create as many socialites as possible. And I really want to, like, you know me, I like to redefine. I think people think of socialite and they think young, hot person who is connecting, basketball players to models or something like that. You can be anyone, you can look like anything, you can be any age. All a socialite needs to wear is a smile and a warm attitude and have the goal of connecting people to people. So, I have a free workshop coming up this Thursday that I'm really excited about. We're going to dive into specific techniques on how to become a better connector, specific techniques on how to become a better socialite, how to use content to be more authentically yourself and hopefully connect others. If you were ever interested in having a community, a paid community, um, or if you just know that like you've been isolating yourself too much and there is meaning missing, that's where I was, right? Like I could talk about philosophy all day long, but I still was not doing what I needed to do to actually enjoy my life. I was talking about how much life sucked and not doing anything about that. And I just was tired of that, especially because, like I said, my experience with dealing with the tech companies was eh. So what my experience has been in exploring myself and learning about myself and taking on dance and being more social and all these, that has been fulfilling. That has changed my heart posture. That has really breathed life into my life. And I want to share that because I feel like we're all entitled to that same amount of um, joy, purpose, and meaning and connection with each other. So hopefully I see you at the workshop. The link is below. And let me know your thoughts about this, and I will see you in the next video.